Hi, everybody. I'm back. It's Urena with Serenity Relations with Urena from SerenityBehavioralHealth.net, here with some fabulous friends. Today, we're going to play 6 questions, but first, let me have them introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, my name is Leslie.
How you doing? My name is Jonathan.
Hello, my name is Honey Marie.
Hey, Honey Marie. So how this is going to work this time is we're going to pull a question. Nobody knows what question they're going to pull. They're going to answer it, and we're going to keep it rolling. But the whole goal is to help you maybe get some insight on how to do better in your relationships, in your life, or maybe we can help you determine whether it's time for you to make an exit and find something better. I will pull first. Okay. My question is there a such thing as too much masturbation? My answer is no. There is not any such thing as too much masturbation. Masturbation is healthy, number one, for men and for women. There are health benefits. It's a stress reliever. It helps bring dopamine to the brain, which is your pleasure center in your brain. It's satisfactory. It feels good. And who doesn't want to feel good? What I will say is be careful. Like for those of us that use toys, you want to make sure you're not desensitizing your clit, and then you're not able to feel satisfaction when you're sexual acts with your man or with your woman or with whomever. So I do think just to be cautious of that, but I don't think there is anything as too much masturbation. Matter of fact, I think some people need to masturbate more. So that's what that's what I'm gonna say. Maybe their attitude would be better. So that's what I'm gonna say about that.
Same question?
Nope.
Okay, different question.
We're,
Okay.
we're gonna, you know what?
Stay in order.
Jonathan is ready, honey. Jonathan is ready. Go ahead and pull, Leslie.
All right. My question is it wrong for a woman to expect a man to pay for the first date? Is it wrong? I'm not really sure if it's wrong, but I'm also kind of into equal opportunity. If, she has a banging job and, he's working as well, they could split the check. However, I do believe in chivalry. So if he wants to, show up a little bit and pay for the dinner, they can keep it moving. Have a good time.
Okay. All right. So anybody can chime in. I'm sorry, real quickly, if you want to. Anybody want to chime in?
I just believe it's whoever asks the person out on a date.
They should pay?
But it doesn't matter to me. It could be the male or the female. But if I ask someone out, I usually pay.
Okay, me too. I'm the same way. And Jonathan, you had, before we move to you, when the masturbation question, did you have something you wanted to add to it?
Not really. I think that you touched on both sides. It almost sounded contradictory, if you will.
Okay.
Because you said, no, it's not too much. And then you said, be careful that you don't desensitize so that there could be too much.
With the use of toys.
Right, right. Me personally, I think that there's something called no fat. If you're familiar with that or not, you can look it up. But a man gives off a certain type of a glow when he reserves his semen.
Okay.
If you reserve it for a certain amount of time, you're like a peacock with the wings spread. You know what I mean? You got the juice.
I love it.
So, a lot of these cats that's draining themselves, they don't have the energy and the mojo that the cat does that has reserved themselves. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I think that you should hold your tank and keep it full until you get with your woman, and then you explode on her. That's my opinion.
I'm about that life. I'm about that life.
All right, let's see here. My question is, how do you know when it's time to end a relationship? When the sex comes to a halt, or when the sex is significantly diminished to the degree to where both parties are just kind of doing a chore. I heard Dr. Phil say that a relationship is only as healthy as it is sexually. So I think that if the sexual chemistry and the sexual orientation isn't popping, then that's one of the clear red flags that it may be time to have a conversation, or it may be time to find someone where that spark is continuing to persist, in my opinion.
That was a great response, Jonathan. Does anyone else have something to add to it?
I definitely do.
Okay, Leslie?
You know, I agree that sex is
Okay.
an important part of continuing the intimacy that you experience with your partner. And nothing against Dr. Phil at all. You know, what he has said is pretty valid for a lot of people. A lot of people are drawn to each other for their sexual compatibility. But I also think that, you know, deepening the emotional bonds is something that's so important. And that can be done by just talking to each other, sharing facts with each other, laying next to each other, holding each other. And those are some of the initial steps to rebuild that very robust sexual relationship that was experienced towards the beginning, because life is going to keep holding us down for whatever reason. And who are we holding down? The people that we love. So if the sex is starting to go out the window, then it might be time to dress the window up.
I agree. Honey, you have something to say about that?
Sounds good to me.
I have something to say about that. But I agree. If the sex is out the window, let's be introspective, and let's also think about the work before that happens. It doesn't just automatically you wake up and, oh, I don't want to have sex with you anymore. There's a whole process that takes place beforehand. I think you have to be aware of yourself, aware of what's happening in your relationship, and be able to try to do some preventative, proactive things so that it doesn't get to that point where you feel like I'm gonna leave because the sex isn't good, especially if that person has so many other qualities that are great and it's just the sex. That we can work on those types of things, but I think that it's really just very important to try to be proactive and preventative about it so you don't get to that space. Honey, go ahead and pull a question now.
Okay.
Your
Hope I
beautiful
get it.
self.
This one looks like it has a lot.
And her real name is Honey. That's not her nickname.
Okay.
Can you read my handwriting?
Okay. It says, what is so wrong about women who like men to take over some of their financial responsibility?
Well, do you think he's wrong? And if you
I
do?
think it depends on how you define your relationship.
Okay.
And some, it depends on how the home is being led as well. I don't expect mine to take on all my financial responsibilities. I think it should be something that is either shared, or if he's playing the role that, if he chooses to lead and be responsible for it, yes, but I would think it would also be my duty to make sure in the event that something happened that I'm able to step in and do so as well in some aspect if we have not planned or prepared for situations like that. So no, I don't assume that someone's supposed to, I'm dating, I'm with my partner, that he's totally responsible for all my responsibilities, financial responsibilities.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I would like
I knew you. I felt it in my spirit. I said, Jonathan's gonna have something to say. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Now the question was, is it wrong? Let me make sure I'm not
Yes.
about to start talking.
Read it
It
one
says-
more.
What is so wrong about women who like men to take over some of their financial responsibilities?
I think what's so wrong with some women who like men to take over their financial responsibilities is that the woman is not all in.
Right.
So if you're asking a man to take over your full or partial or some of your financial responsibilities, how come he doesn't have access to your Instagram? How come there's no picture of you and him on there? It's only you. Y'all go all to the same places, and you crop him out and only put you on there, but he's supposed to pay your light bill. I think that it's okay, so as long as this woman completely checks out. And that one example, there are several things that need to be checked off before a man takes his hard-earned money to go and help her with her finances, in my opinion.
Well, there's several. I'm curious. Give me two.
I think that a female should also use some of her finances to do something for that man. A lot of females, unfortunately, they will just order off the menu, as opposed to say, "Baby, let me take you out," or "Are you getting your hair cut this week? Let me send you $25." It's not the
I like
amount.
that one. I like that
It's
one.
not the amount. For a lot of us guys, it's just a gesture, and it speaks volumes. And a lot of females, in my dating experience, they just think that showing up and being pretty or being cute is enough.
Right.
But the ones that are getting married, are these women who have handled their business themselves and they allow their man to benefit off of some of that. I think that a man won't have a problem at all.
Ooh, that's good eating.
A man by nature is a competitive creature. And so if a woman gets your haircut, oh, you're not gonna let her outdo you. You're gonna pay her light bill. You're gonna pay her more. Baby, you know what? Relax this whole month. This one's on me. You know. So I think that as long as the boxes are checked off and things are even, and a man doesn't feel like he's getting used, he will always outshine his woman, even in the area of giving.
Got you. Oh. Let me chop on that one. Did you have something you want to add, Leslie? Or he's.
I really like that you mentioned those small gestures as well. That's what really speaks volumes. And I think that that's really important when it comes to the give and take of a relationship. And so I'm just over here like, yes.
I agree. I'm team reciprocity. I believe in reciprocity. When I'm giving out, you should be pouring in, and vice versa. When you're giving out, I should be pouring in. So I like it. I love your opinion on that. Thank you. Why did I know I was gonna get this one? Is it okay to fake an orgasm sometimes? Okay, so here we go. This is real talk. If you have a child, a niece or a nephew, and the picture is horrible, and they say, "Hey, look at my picture, auntie, uncle, whatever," are you gonna say it's ugly, or are you gonna say it's a nice picture? So I believe sometimes in order for the job to be done, it's okay. But I believe that whatever is preventing you from getting the orgasm, I think that needs to be worked on. So I do think that whatever, if it's something that you're not getting from your partner or something that you're needing, if they are not doing that for you, I think the conversation needs to be had, or maybe you can show them a visual. You can find something maybe on porn that looks like what it is that you like, to give them the visual, or just have the discussion. And that way you don't have to feel like you have to fake it. I know from personally me as a woman, there have been occasions where I have faked it, but it wasn't because the person wasn't good. It was just because my mind was somewhere else. I had a lot going on and I didn't want to disappoint them. And it comes from a good place. Like, we really want you to feel like you're satisfying us, and you are satisfying us. Maybe just the orgasm piece wasn't there. So I think if you can tap into what's satisfying in your mate, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, I think that makes it less of a lie. I didn't want to say lie, but less of a lie, because if I can tap into that and that feels good, I can make the sounds that it feels good. I don't necessarily have to say I'm coming. Just don't say you're coming. Make the sounds. It feels good. Show your appreciation through those sounds and be done with it. And then make sure that they're satisfied as well. That's my take. And I approve this message. Anybody else want to add on to that?
Why everyone?
Yes, honey, yes.
I haven't experienced that problem, so
Okay.
I can't really speak on it, but I think it's my duty to make sure that my partner is pleased, and I think it's his duty to make sure that I'm pleased. So when I go forward to make love to my partner, I'm only thinking about satisfying him, and I think he feels the same way too. So I'm highly sexual, and I'm gonna make sure I get mine, and I think he's gonna make sure he gets his as well. So,
Well, aren't you lucky?
yes, I am very. But I know you have something.
Look at him chopping at the bit.
No.
Why? Jonathan's gonna pass on that one.
I mean,
okay.
you want me to say something?
If you want to.
Okay.
And then Leslie, if you have something to say too.
Is the question? There's like this tone as if that question only applies to a female.
No, I just happen to be a female, so I'm speaking from a female perspective. So go ahead.
Because after us men come to a climax, and we get back hard, it's more difficult for us to come.
Absolutely.
And so we would just be stroking, and she'll be waiting for us to come. And if you don't have the connectivity to try something different, like oral or masturbation while she's kissing you, or whatever your thing is, a man could feel like he's in a position to go ahead and fake it so that it ends. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
But I don't think that it's okay to fake an orgasm.
Okay.
I think that it's time for some communication.
Okay.
And to find out what she likes, what he likes, and what you two need. And sometimes it's not necessarily on the partner. Sometimes a woman could have had several kids or used vibrators, to your point earlier, and become desensitized. And this guy's working like a horse. It's just not happening. You know what I mean? So some of these vaginas aren't functioning properly.
Okay. Oh, that's a whole blog in itself.
So because it's not functioning properly, you're about to catch a heart attack trying to make it do what it's incapable of doing, in my humble opinion.
I love it. Leslie, did you want to chime in on anything?
Oh yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Leslie.
So I sort of have a somewhat different approach when it comes to sex, because Emily Nagoski, big sex researcher, she has a phrase that I love so much, and I tell my clients this phrase, that pleasure is the measure. Pleasure itself is the measure of the satisfaction of the sex that you have, and it's not orgasmic focused. And so because we are, as kids, when we discover ourselves, the orgasm when we have our first one, and some people still haven't had their first one, and that's fine because she's on her way. Believe that. I do. And as you experience it, you're moving towards it. That's your motivation now. And so I believe a lot of us don't really talk too much about how just the experience itself of sex, the pleasure that is experienced, and that's where the goal is. How pleasurable was that experience? Because what you were saying with that refractory period, we're going to be on rest for a little bit, but she may not be ready, he may not be ready, whoever may not be ready to go back into it. And during that time, I like that you mentioned, honey, that it is about pleasing your partner, because that is such an important aspect of arousal, connecting your mind to your body and your body to your partner.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I like that you raised the whole, just the pleasure factor, and not us trying to get to that big finish.
Right.
Yeah. Honey, you were going to say something?
I can say, I know I have struggled. I'm really into foreplay. I like the foreplay part of it, because once you experience that orgasm, sometimes for me, it's like, it's over with now. I'm kind of mad because it's over with. That I would prefer the foreplay more than the orgasm, but I'm still happy with whichever one happens. But sometimes if I do experience a very big orgasm, I'm like, that's yucky, because I don't like the feeling afterwards. I'd rather have been teased and played with a lot longer.
Wow. Okay.
So I like what you shared.
I do too.
I think that's just as important as well. The pleasure.
So we have one more question left before we conclude. I'm going to pick who's going to answer this first, just to switch things up. Okay. Leslie.
Back in the hot seat. What's the best way for couples to improve intimacy in their relationship? You had to pick me for this.
Yes.
I feel like it's kind of a two-part, because what we were mentioning earlier about sex being an important aspect of it, and maybe I got it wrong, but a lot of people will say that the relationship is great when the sex is great, and then when the sex is not good, the relationship is horrible. And I do want to go back to that idea of when you meet your partner, whoever they are, you do have a strong sexual desire. For a lot of people, some people don't.
I do.
Hey, I'm with you on that. And so going back to that time, almost reliving those moments of how you got there. And one of my favorite models to work with clients is the couple's erotic flow. And the very first stage of this model is courting. And so how do you get back to being in touch with that intimacy with your partner? You go back to courting.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of simple, but it is so meaningful in those moments
Yeah.
where you're spending that time learning about your partner. Because we come into the world, some say alone. I don't believe it, but we really do experience our lives as our lives. And as we move forward in life, we meet other people who we can experience their lives with us, and we learn about them. And that is a huge part of deepening the emotional bond, is that courting period where you are just learning about the other person.
Yes.
And you could be together for 45, 50, 60 years and still learn something new. So I definitely
Absolutely.
recommend that as the first part. And then my second part is, for a lot of people, if touching is on your love language or whatever, touching is such an important part of it too. Sitting down and holding hands with each other, putting an arm around them, watching a movie, whatever y'all do, but touching each other and being physically close with each other, eye contact with each other, even like 10 or 15 minutes just staring at each other. And people are like, you're crazy, I don't want to do all that. And I'm like, just try it. Just try it. Y'all might get to 2 minutes, but that's 2 whole minutes that you spent staring into the eyes of someone you care about. That's sexy.
That is sexy. Anybody else want to say anything about that? How to build intimacy?
Let me make sure I understand the question. What's the best way for couples to improve intimacy in their relationships? I would say perhaps working on getting to know one another and becoming more infatuated with one another. I think that there's like this kind of like an elephant in the room of people thinking that good sex is predicated upon the actual action or perhaps a foreplay. But if you just know your partner and you love them, or you're really into him or into her, and y'all have funny times, y'all watch movies, y'all, whatever your little thing is, y'all, you like going for walks or whatever it is, I think that that dictates how good the sex can be. So my point is that let's say that his ability to really work it might not be like this other guy's, but you guys' chemistry is so on point that it will kind of magnify what he lacks. It may magnify what she lacks because you're so infatuated with her. Does that make sense? So she might not throw it back how you want, but y'all have such good times that you just can't wait to get your hands on her, and the sex is just amazing. Not that it was amazing in that y'all's working was so amazing, but you two are amazing. So it just kind of domino effects into the intimacy being amazing. So I think that one of the best ways to improve sexual chemistry and sexual orientation is to just really make sure that you kind of build you all's chemistry and camaraderie together. And I think that it will domino effect over into the bedroom.
All right. Honey, did you want to say anything? I like it.
I'm one of those, I like to continue to have date night. I enjoy palling around with my partner. I think it builds something throughout the day if you do some activities together. If it's just cleaning around the house, yard work, grocery shopping, running to Lowe's. If you're always together, holding hands, like you mentioned earlier, and it's something that my partner and I do is we have, it's a thing, like when he comes to bed, it's my nightcap. So you're like, how was your day? What happened?
I like it.
You know, what's going on? Tell me something good. Tell me something bad. And it's something that I look forward to every night. And I feel that it keeps me connected with my partner as well.
I like it. I like it.
So I have to have my nightcap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. I want a nightcap. Thanks, honey, Jonathan and Leslie. Hopefully you all were able to gain some insight or just some information that can help you with whatever relationships, whatever type of relationship you're dealing with. These are like universal methods of opinions that you may find helpful. And if you don't, you don't, and that's fine too. But whatever, hopefully you can eat the meat and discard the bones and build and make whatever relationship you're in better. So thanks for watching Serenity Relations with Urena. I'm Urena from SerenityBehavioralHealth.net, and hopefully you continue to read our content, my content, or look at some of the vlogs that I do with my fellow friends, and hopefully you're able to gain something from it. Signing out. Smooches.